It's a variability of human performance, right? You can write it down on paper, but then you got to play the games. Frankly, we haven't really put it all together for a consistent period of time. And so, I still think that can happen. Listen, there's a lot of good ball players on this club, and it's just a question of, getting a little confidence, getting on a run. And I think that's possible. And so, it's, how many games are left in the season? 100? It's a lot. Okay, so, obviously, we'll see what, it looks like 4 to 6 weeks from now. And, but, I still feel this team has got a good run in them, a lot of good players, and a lot of good. I think the locker room's good, the culture's good. And so I'm hopeful.
You kind of just hinted on my follow-up, but you said you're focused on the here and now. At what point you sort of have to make a decision as to what your strategy will be at the trade deadline in the second half?
Listen, I know everybody's focused on the trade deadline, right? That's all anybody wants to talk about. We got a lot of games to play. And so, let's not get focused so far out. Let's get focused on what's happening now. We got to win a game. We got to chip away. We're down, obviously 9 games and to get to 500, but maybe, I don't know, what are we, 4 games out of the wild card, which is, we shouldn't be proud of that, right? We're still 9 games under. But, it gives you the opportunity to make the season a success. And so, that's the way I'm looking at it.
A couple of weeks ago, you called the team's performance mind-boggling.
Yes.
You've since then unboggled your mind at all and been able to understand what's going on?
Well, it was mind-boggling because of how we were losing in the last inning.
Yeah.
Okay? You can lose games and not describe it as mind-boggling. How we were losing it was, unusual. And so, everyone saw the statistic. I think a week ago they said we'd lost like 6 games from May 1st in the last inning, and no other team had lost 2. And so, listen, you could say, well, if we didn't lose those games, we'd be in a totally different place. But I think what it says is that, that was unusual. It's probably not going to continue, and therefore you can have reason for optimism. Well, all the stats are out there. Our defense hasn't been, particularly great. We haven't really put it all together. When we're hitting, we're not pitching. And so, those are the things. To win games, you got to play all facets of the game. And there's room for improvement there. And, I'm hopeful that, the team starts playing better defense and, our hitting has improved. Our pitching's been reasonable enough. We went through a bad patch in relief pitching, and so we just haven't put it all together. But I'm hopeful that we will.
You've been pretty interactive with the fans this weekend. What is your message to them right now?
Listen, the fans they love the Mets, and they came all the way over here. What the hell is going on here? I got turn that off. So they came over here because they love the Mets, they care about the Mets. They're in good spirits, right? I was hanging out with them in the pub, we were having a blast. And they're excited about being here, being at the games. And so, the fans have been through worse, okay? And so, right, that's trying to break that history. They're great, and they're certainly going to be there for the team.
How do you assess the job that Carlos Mendoza has done so far in his rookie year as a manager?
I'd say I'm impressed by Carlos. He's got an incredible rapport with the team. He's thoughtful. He handles, he's very capable of relating to the players, delivering hard messages when he has to. I'm impressed by how he conducts himself. Those are tough decisions, right? Obviously you want to build a winning culture, right? And a lot of that is trying to make the playoffs. I'll say it again. I haven't had discussions with David on this, And I mean, listen, the ultimate goal is to build a sustainable winner. I've said that. We haven't done it yet. Okay, we had one winning season, and obviously that's not good enough. And so, but the other side is, it's not, you get into a trade deadline and, theoretically, you don't know what you're going to get back, right? You don't know, I mean, just because, in your scenario, what if the return that you got is kind of marginal, right? So the decisions are not black and white, okay? And so, we're not there yet, and we'll evaluate it when we get there.
Hey Steve, just to switch the focus from London back to New York, what's next for your plans at Citi Field? Is it casino or bust, or would you be open to Ballpark Village in Atlanta or the mighty St. Louis?
Well, fortunately, we're sitting on, like sort of not marshlands, but a low area. We have to make it all work. We need an economic engine if we're going to do something significant, and plus you got to replace the parking. Okay, if you're going to build something on it, well, where are you going to park? And so parking garages to build are incredibly expensive in New York. And so, there needs to be an economic engine. We want to build a hotel, gaming, area that the fans can enjoy. That's the goal. We're going to keep pushing forward. And my hope is that, we're successful.
Hi. Just to bring it back to being here in London, obviously we've heard that the field outside is a lot more bouncier than used to be in America.
You said bouncier?
That's what we've
Okay.
been told, yeah.
Right.
There's
Okay.
a
All
lot
right.
more bounce to...
Well, the fly ball that, fell in front of Starling yesterday, that bounced pretty high. Okay, so, that was different.
Yeah. So how do you think, the series can develop here? And obviously being in London's great, but we've heard things about jet lag and different issues. Do you think that affects your team in different ways? And obviously they're quite versatile.
Well, it didn't affect Philadelphia yesterday, so someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. Listen, these guys are used to traveling, and frankly, I think it's actually a nice break. It kind of breaks up, it's a long season, and it gives them an opportunity to be with their families in a sort of a unique way. So I'm a big supporter of these games.
And obviously you said you were at the pub yesterday with Mets fans and really seeing everyone around. How are you enjoying being here in London as well, and the London series and what it brings to the MLB in general?
Yeah. I mean, obviously going to the pub was a blast to hang out with the fans. I mean, I have an office here. My firm has a very large office here. And so I came in there actually earlier last Sunday, did investor meetings and hung out with my investment professionals. And so I've been here for a week and I love London. I think the food here is fantastic. Okay, I think it's better than New York.
What's your best cuisine? What's the best thing what's your favourite thing to eat? Is it the full English breakfast or?
I tell you, I was on the 10th hole or 11th hole at Sunningdale, and they had these sausages at the Midway House. That was awesome. Okay, little Coleman's mustard, little white bread on, wrap it around, delicious.